it's me, Sweetie, and thank you for being here for another video. Do I have lipstick on my teeth this time? No? Okay. A rare occurrence. No lipstick. For today's video, I wanted to do something that I've actually seen quite commonly in the Lolita YouTube space as of recently, and that is doing a letter to my beginner Lolita self. I've been wearing Lolita fashion for about 6 years now, I believe, so I guess I am finally senior enough to be giving any kind of beginner advice, myself or otherwise. And today I actually have on the very first Lolita dress that I ever purchased. It is Whipped Cream Kitty by Hey Newly, and I do have a review video on it, so I will link that up above. Well, I think that's enough about my outfit. Let's get comfortable and have a little chat. And I would like to actually get comfortable, so I'm gonna put my knees up here, get pushing over here. I hope this isn't like Lolita sacrilege to sit like this, but it's what's happening. So speaking of wardrobe, probably the first thing I would want to tell my younger Lolita self is don't feel rushed to go out and buy a large, expansive, expensive Lolita wardrobe. Now, not that I necessarily did do that, but I definitely felt almost like a panic of a rush to quickly get as many items as I could so I could go out and wear cool outfits with other Lolitas. But I think it led me to almost make some decisions that I would have regretted. Back then, I did a lot of searching on Lace Market, just like looking at everything the site had every single day. And I really almost caught myself trying to buy pieces that I didn't necessarily absolutely love just so I could like have something new added to my closet. I was good, I caught myself before I did anything like that, but it's really something that comes along with being new to the fashion and seeing, you know, all of these internet famous Lolitas out there with these fabulous, expansive wardrobes. And it makes you feel like you need to do that as well to keep up. Something that May said to me around that time really like clicked with me and made me think about my purchasing habits differently. And she mentioned how if you don't absolutely love something when you buy it, the buying almost becomes more of the desire than the item itself. And so this hobby that started as a passion for things you really, really love can become almost like an empty, just shopping addiction, really. And while I have had some pieces in my closet that I have ended up selling after wearing them for a long time, I don't really feel like anything I've purchased wasn't something that I absolutely loved at that time. I still have the vast majority of pieces that I've purchased. And you know, seeing all of these internet famous Lolitas as a beginner really also made me feel some kind of way because there are so many beautiful social media Lolita content creators on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and they have such great taste in all these cool, rare items. Back when I was just beginning, it was really hard for me not to compare myself to them in a lot of different ways. Now that's not anyone's fault but my own, so this is definitely more me advising myself rather than saying you shouldn't show off what you have or have fun and put yourself out on social media. Absolutely not. It's definitely a me problem. But with my feelings specifically, seeing them do these things was like me watching somebody else achieve a dream of my own. And was I a little bit envious? Of course. But was I outright like jealous or angry? Absolutely not. These social media creators obviously got to where they are with a huge amount of work, but how it more so did affect me is when I was a beginner and I really started putting my Lolita fashion out there on social media, I almost got distracted by what all these other content creators were doing and trying to like do things that emulated them, like, oh, this works for them, I should try it too, rather than just focusing on like having fun and finding my own inspiration. And so I really had to like sit down with myself and just realize that whatever I was doing was special because it came from within me and not from my desire to like do what the popular kids were doing, I guess. And so I wish I could go and say that to myself a lot sooner, because I spent a lot of time stressing about, how do I improve myself to be like them, or they look like they have such a cool lifestyle and I want to attain that. I could have saved myself a lot of stress and anxiety. Something else that I dealt with as a beginner Lolita was like the anxiety of feeling like if I wasn't directly interacting with my local Lolita community, I wasn't a real Lolita. I know I'm here out on YouTube showing myself, doing all this stuff, revealing all this information, but when it comes down to it, I think I'm really more of an introvert. And I really prefer my alone time, or just with like a really small amount of people. So I wish I could go back and tell myself that it's okay to be shy. It's okay to feel maybe a little uncomfortable with going to these big gatherings, even if everyone there is super nice, and by the way, they are. I still just felt the anxiety of having to put myself out there and do this new thing and be a part of this community. Now, of course, if you don't interact with a local Lolita community, you are absolutely still valid as a Lolita. I feel like a lot of people actually practice the fashion in like a more private, personal setting. So if that's more your vibe, go for it. I know that was really my vibe for a long time. I really only went out with my friend May and maybe a couple of her other friends every now and again. But something really nice that happened as a result of us kind of keeping to ourselves is that we grew a very small pocket Lolita community of our own in our local neighborhoods. So we've really accumulated really great, really close Lolita friends that are just right around us in our local area. And it's really nice to be able to go out and enjoy events with other Lolitas while still keeping it really like private. I think that honestly helps all of us feel a little more comfortable, and it's much easier to plan. Go ahead and try to enjoy Lolita fashion in your private time, or if you can find just a couple of Lolitas nearby you, it can be just as fulfilling. Now, something that I stressed about when I was a beginner Lolita, and also still a bit to this day, is feeling guilty for enjoying an expensive hobby. Obviously, we're all out here being very responsible and paying our bills before we spend anything frivolous on Lolita, but sometimes it is hard for me to justify a hobby that is something optional that costs or can cost quite a bit of money. As I've gotten older and became more financially stable, obviously it's a lot easier to have fun spending money after you're done paying your bills. But especially when I was younger and just starting out in Lolita, I was nowhere near as well off in my life. And I really did stress about, oh, I'm gonna spend all this money on these dresses, and what if I don't continue doing the hobby, or like what if something happens and I need to get rid of all of them, like I'm gonna lose money, this, that, and the other. And I wish I could go back and tell myself that here 6 years down the road, I am still loving and living in this fashion and making content and having such a great time, and you don't need to stress about it because you're gonna love this for so many more years to come. Though I think it is good just to be like cognizant of how much you're spending on Lolita, and I guess it is a little more healthy to be considering the money that I am spending rather than just spending it like crazy and not really caring. Being a fiscally responsible Lolita is important. The last thing, and probably the most important thing I would want to go back and tell my beginner Lolita self, is I just want to let her know how important this is going to be in our lives, how validated you will feel by wearing these clothes, and just how fulfilled this fashion is going to make you feel. For so long, I really did struggle with like what I wanted to do with my life, as if we need to have a plan like that. But I really did stress about it. I have all these incredibly talented friends that have like these specialized jobs that they worked really hard to study for and learn for, but they're also just really naturally talented at. And I felt like I really didn't have anything like that. So I spent a lot of time like searching for what that was supposed to be, especially through the pandemic. And as a result of being in this fashion, I started this YouTube channel, and I've been able to connect with you guys. And I remember probably about 4 months into doing this, I'd finally gotten my groove. I knew what my style was. I was having so much fun creating. I had to stop and realize, like, I am finally fulfilled. I feel like I'm doing something that I'm good at, I have fun at, I'm meant to do. It's like, I discovered it, I'm here, finally. And I highly doubt that without this fashion, I would have never made it to YouTube, I would have never discovered how much fun creating content is. And so I really owe it to my younger beginner Lolita self for taking a chance and getting into this fashion in the first place. So the advice for my younger beginner Lolita self, and you if you're a beginner Lolita as well: 1, don't rush things. 2, don't compare yourself to others. 3, it's okay to be shy. 4, don't feel guilty about investing in your hobby. And 5, you are going to have so much fun. If you have another piece of advice you would like to add to my 5, go ahead and leave it below in the comments. I'm sure we would all appreciate some more Lolita advice. Well, thank you guys so much for spending some time with me on the channel today. I hope you did enjoy it. And if you did, please consider hitting the subscribe button down below or the thumbs up. It really helps me out. I'm going to go ahead and end it here, guys. I'm going to go enjoy the rest of my day. I hope you enjoy yours as well, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!